And welcome back to the channel and another one of our alt courses, and this one is called Montefano Golf Course by Koffish, which is someone I don't know anything about, which is always exciting. We're going to go with pin 2. Looks nice. We've got some terrain painted bunkers. We've got, by the looks of it, it looks kind of, I don't know, temperate, Australian, maybe savannah, who knows? We will see how this all goes. It's always nice when you get someone completely new because you've never got any idea what to expect. You know, medium southwest, everything else defaults. Let's get into it. So I've got two, I think, to play tonight, which is nice. So we've got this one and then we've got a TJ one as well. So I'm going to go in the order that they were posted in the thread. That's a pretty nice look. So what do we have? Lots of fairway around greens. That's good. I've done some nice terrain painting for the bunkers, bleeding into kind of more native areas. Definitely similarities with, like, this immediately makes me think of some of the stuff I did on Shell Bay. Like, it's the kind of, yeah, a lot of the stuff I did on Shell Bay actually, with the farms, etc. Kind of what you'd expect with terrain painting. Now this green texture I've always hated for the stupid fringe that makes no sense in terms of that colour. So that would have been something that kind of leapt out to me immediately. But yeah, this looks nice. Big bunkers, sprawling. We have a clubhouse. Ooh, looks interesting. Hey, Finley. I have a few thoughts on, like, the farmland looks, I think it's just interesting as to where this is. I mean, there's no real hard and fast rules, but I'm not sure it totally makes sense to be ducking and diving so much around the golf holes. I don't know. I tend to kind of zone off an area first and then put the holes down after that. But I guess this works. Yeah. I mean, for someone I know nothing about, this looks cool. I'm not, like, if we're being critical, which is kind of part of the role, I'm not sure where this is meant to be in the world with the dunes and then this. Like, granted, I have built a course that's kind of similar to this. So I guess that, but then the bunkering is very different, but I guess it could be fantasy, which is totally fine. And I'm not sure about the bedrock's interesting as a touch as well. Cool. Oh, there's some nice stuff to look at. It looks very interesting, which I will take. And they found this, always like this one that's kind of buried in there. Right, so our clubhouse is over there. This is one. Let's see what we have. So medium winds today seems to mean 10 miles an hour. I would have probably used some light rough. I just don't see why. I don't really see why you wouldn't at this stage. And I guess the other thing I would argue is that closer to your playable surfaces, you probably want to have the purer sand, and then kind of the more rocky stuff somewhere over here, where you're a bit further away from the playable surfaces. But these are minor. It's a good sightline off the first. 424. We can pop one down there. I don't really feel like any of those bunkers were in play. It does feel Australian-ish. Like I say, kind of what I did in terms of, like, that sort of area. I like the green. So we've got a big backstop. The further right you go, the more you can access that. And from the left, that can potentially get a little bit squirrely. Yeah, it looks good. It feels a bit like that, yes. And that's not to say you can't do the same style of course that someone else has done at all. Hello! Thanks for joining. So this is Koffish, who's the guy who's designed this. I'm assuming I've pronounced the name correctly. Is this first course or just first 25 course? It's not a name I recognise. And if this is a first course, it's really flipping good. So far, at least. Okay, so we can play kind of Maybe a little similar to the first in terms of the bunker on the right, and we just play out this way and it gets a little bit longer. The hole itself looks nice. Maybe a little pulled. That's all right. This one obviously significantly longer. 251, but into a par 5. The green sits really nicely beyond those bunkers. Yeah, agreed. I mean, I would say there's some telltale signs with the bunkering. Like you can see little bits of the sculpting here if we're being hypercritical. I think you'd look at the edging. I think you'd look at the intensity of the surface of the terrain painting. I think you could vary a little bit more. So you'd have it breaking up a little bit on the edges, then going to the pure white, then kind of breaking up again around here. But yeah, also high axle. If I can make it there. I do really like how this green sits though. That's understated and really nice. I'm just going to play somewhere down to there. Yes, a little bit too much. And just kind of a touch one. Okay. Just a touch one tone with the intensity. And there are. I'm trying to think what I mean with that. Like if you look at this one back here, like it's all the same intensity. It's like it's just that one texture, whereas you can get that real variance by going super intense here, less intense around here. I think that makes a difference. It's like CC all over again. Ah, yeah. See, whereas I did my first one and decided to publish it against all good sense. So it still exists somewhere despite being terrible. This looks lovely. And yeah, little bits like sculpting around this bunker, like drop that in the way that you've done some of this stuff. Would look a little neater. This looks great. I mean, you've certainly got a knack for framing green sight lines. Like, there's some really good stuff here, and I love that we see these two greens off this side. Like, there is so much stuff that has done really well here. Ooh, nasty pin. I can see what we're doing. So we've got a little runoff here. Oh, it's hard to control the camera when it gets here. And you have tried to give us a little bit of fairway there. I'm not sure that works quite. It will end up in fairway. It's just it's a little awkward. And the reason is you're kind of trying to force a runoff that you don't really want to be there, I would say. Ah, good work. I mean, I feel we can already say it's tour worthy. You know, after 3 holes, pretty usually. That needs to sit. Did not sit. I like the challenge with that front one. Yeah, that's to be expected because it's quite. And then when you start flattening it, the bunker starts looking really horizontal. You can kind of. You probably just want to draw the sculpting out a little bit this way, then you can go up and down a bit more. It's hard to explain. That may not make a ton of sense. Fellow Swede, eh? My condolences, koffish. That's a good lag putt. That front pin's really interesting. I like that you went with that. So far, 3 really solid holes. Lovely green sight. Saw this one earlier. Yeah, again, just the bunker sculpting here, I'd probably be lowering it just near the lip. Kind of like you've done here. Looks great. And you can tell the difference where you have done it. It's like this bit. Again, I think you can just work this part and drop this part a little bit. Planting does look good. But you can really tell the difference where you have done it and then kind of where you haven't. You can see how this is all, that's the same slope rather than being like land into bunker, which would typically drop down a bit more. I appreciate you've not done too much with the green. And the fairway around the green is done really nicely. Gently running balls on. Yeah, really good. Terrible tee shot. Yes, good question from Axel. I mean, my guess is somewhere Australia, purely based on this looks similar to Shell Bay links, which I remember. Uh, oh, it tried. I'm not really sure what else I would have to nitpick. There's not a bunch. I think the grass planting there is functional. You could vary it a little bit more or thicken it or do a bit more of the weathering in patches. Same down here, like it's kind of this is the planted area rather than how do we make that planting really sing. But I am nitpicking, certainly. Yeah, there's a lot of farmland. Also, hi Claire's. I think the next thing I would probably also question with some of the planting is why are these bushes here and can you like tie them together a little bit more? It's like we've just got this one. It's you typically have other things growing around it, or it would be tied in with other planting if you really start looking at it. But some of us go too deep into that. This is nice. This feels very unique. It's definitely a depression I don't want to be in. It makes me take on just a little bit more this way. And we're going to go there. Still. Ooh. Ah, there we are. Okay, interesting. I mean, Italy is amazing. Just, yeah, would happily go there every year. Interesting, Close. I'm pretty subtle on my opinion at the moment. It's really good. Really nice view behind the green as well. It's a very cool green. Just the stuff that you're doing. Like, it's sensible and everything seems well thought out. Usually you get people trying to do too much or just kind of finding their way around the tools, and we got none of that. Please get over that tree. Oh, it did. Now sit. Ooh, what a shot. We'll miss the putt now. It's okay. Oh, I didn't think I'd miss it eye side. At least called it. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to add. I think my thing at this point of the course would be how are we gonna change it up a little. Everything has been really good so far. What kind of like in a World Cup, you probably want some different environments or slight changes, or like I don't know, but that's not a must. Pretty good shot. And the greens have been well done as well. Like that's another early pitfall avoided. I really like all the features here. Nothing too severe that it's like making you completely dead if you miss your spot, but enough to add interest. Turn back. Ugh. Yeah. Okay. Again, another really nice sightline. I just don't have that much critical feedback to add. I kind of get where Claire's is coming from in the sense of at the end of the round, which holes are the ones that you're going to go like, oh, I can't wait to go back and play that one again. Like, which is for a newer designer who's not putting out a ton of courses. Like, if you're getting that as your feedback, you're doing really well. This is cool. Like, the greens so far have been really good. Yeah, Axel, I think you can mark it as tour worthy pretty safely. I maintain I don't like the green texture purely because of what it does to the fringe. I just found a different one where you don't get the neon sort of fringe effect. Let's get my pick shot. Right in the heart. So far, so good. And I think this kind of becomes it as well. Like when you've done the big terrain painted bunkers a while, you kind of get a little numb to the dunes. So it's how do you maybe mix that up a touch in video game golf where people get bored of stuff quickly. This one, this is one I can critique a little bit more just because it's kind of forcing me out to here or laying way back. And the fairway up here is really unusable. Nobody can carry that far as I'm aware. And if they could, they'd still be running out the other side. What I think you probably wanted to do was have your bunkers going something like that, diagonally a bit more one way or the other, to force people to just bite off a little bit more. And like the other thing by diagonally, like going either way, you allow people to access this bit of the fairway a little bit more. So I think you've got a really interesting potential in that you could also bring this bunker into the green a little bit more, create a touch more of a lion's mouth around that, so we've got one side than the other. And then you work back from it and think, well, whereabouts on the fairway do you want to be? I think that's kind of the level you're looking to get to a bit more now. Ooh. He says just hacking one way into the rough. But this is not the level of course I was expecting. So, like, really pleased. Sorry, I keep fighting a little coughing fit. I'm trying to catch mute wherever I can. 10. A little too late. But yeah, I mean, from okay, we have a thought on this one, but from an alternate perspective, it's really, really solid. It's now what's your next level, and it's that where it's standing out a little bit more. Okay, so disconnected green. I was slightly worried about how much you disconnected here, but actually, like, given the length of the hole, totally fine. And actually, I really like the way this one plays up against the farmland because it's not too close, but it's close enough that it adds the wholesome character. And like, even if okay, you can walk on to the course via there. Interesting. Yeah, no, I know, and it's just you have to pull a lot of tricks, and it's hard not to. Oh, look, we've run through anyway. I didn't hit driver. But yes. That should be really good now. Lovely, very happy with that. Some of the sculpting around the back of that green could be a little bit neater. I just don't think it needs to go up quite that high. But again, I think that's also fighting game physics that aren't really obeying what you want them to do. It helps that the grass renders better now as well. Nice. Okay. Par 5? Par 5. Then right the way at the back. Another cool green. Just one very big feature. Oh, and a secondary tier. And also, like, what you've done nicely is for a course where you've gone with no light rough, which is not a choice I would typically make. What you have done is kept the ball on the fairway a lot rather than bouncing us off. So it makes sense. I have no, as you'll have seen, I have zero qualms about bouncing people off into light rough. Into heavy rough, I think it's a little bit different. So, good common sense decisions. Super flop. Stupid shot. Utterly stupid. Okay. Yeah, another really solid hole. I don't want to give more critical feedback, but I don't really have a ton other than it's everything you're doing is really good. You've now just got to push it to excellent, which is hard. And that means redoing holes until you think they're outstanding. Really good par 3. Hey, Trace. Trace, you got an alt competition. This one's good. Yeah, the long flop coming in alongside the links patch is peak HB. Oh, come on, wind. Yeah. Or like, give us the Texas wedge actually working, like anything. Oh. There's that cough again. Well, we have our first bogey. Yeah, and well, yeah, that's a good point. The alt competition genuinely might be. It was Axel. Maybe the alt competition's the real competition. Who knows? Ah, I like the blind tee shot. That's fun. You could have probably run fairway between these two. I know it's like you don't want people to hit driver, but it's not the shortest of holes. Really like the land movement here, though. I think I would have done something more with the grasses and just they're all and the bushes. It's a little one tone of just everywhere the grass is the same color. If you weather it, you'll get more of a variety, and that would benefit you. Right, up there we go. Oh, middle of the green, boring. Is the text wedge horrid? Yeah, they never really fixed the distance calculation on it. So it's just impossible to judge. And therefore completely wasted skill points. So I guess people I'd get you going and looking at. No worries. See you later. I would go and watch Grovey. For how he does some of the hole design. This green's awesome. No notes. Just really nice for a long four. Just because I think you'll get a kick out of how he does some of those greens. I do think you want to go and just dig into pretty much any top design and how they do challenge off the tee, especially on wider courses. Bound along. There we go. Feed over. That'll do, pig. Nah, no, terrible. Because the thing is, I'm through 14 and I've really enjoyed it and everything has been good. But I'm not sure how many of the holes I really remember that clearly. And that for me is the challenge of like, I want to an awesome course, I want to be coming off and going, oh, I remembered that hole because of this, that hole because of this. I think, excuse me, this pin got away from you just a little bit. It's a great idea. I love how you've done this. And this would be one of the ones that I was remembering. This is an amazing approach shot. Just, there's no way to stop that close. That's not where I wanted to leave it. It's okay, we've got our super flop. That will save the day. Pitching wedge super flop. Just ridiculous. Not a shot. It just should never have been up and down. I apologise. But yeah, I mean, this is it. You've got all of the things that you need. This is cool. I don't know is the answer. Yeah, you're like I say, everything is there. Your challenge is to go from good to great pretty much everywhere. Like planting, hole designs. Oh, sorry, it's been a long week. You might also want to note that you've done a couple of disconnected greens now where we're going to run out of fairway. Like this idea has happened a couple of times. Good idea though. And it happens at least on short holes rather than just let's take the fairway away from you on a long four. You can do, but not that regularly. I mean, if we end up running rookie this year, this guy should 100% go in for it. I feel like rookie this year would be off the charts with what people can do. You've kind of done the Andre thing with the S template a couple of times as well. Yeah, I would look up how people do strategy off the tee. And how they make tee shots challenging and interesting, and just take notes. I did a ton of that when I started from RJ Wills courses mostly. Just like trying to figure out what he was doing and how it worked, and then tried to replicate it and did it really badly. But we get better. And the other thing is there is a thread under, where did I put it? Tips and tricks on like a guide on how do I get better. And you're at that stage, which is good because it usually takes people a while to get there. That was a ton of fun. Agreed. And a shorter playthrough because I don't really have a ton to say other than it's really, really solid. Everything was done very well. I think you've got room to improve in all areas, which is really exciting. And like I guess this is just kind of confirmation of the stuff that you're doing. Like it all works. Just keep pushing. Go down a bit of a strategy rabbit hole. Templates are a lot of fun for that. If you don't know those, don't worry, it's fine. Planting wise, there's a lot out there. I would say just go and really hone in on an environment. So when you said you're influenced by multiple different areas, I think that can be part of it. Try and get really precise with a specific area. Take some pictures, try and replicate that exact look. The more you go into real detail on planting, you'll kind of find yourself enjoying it a little bit more, I think. And that's really about it. And then just try and, as best you can, how can you make each of those individual 18 holes really stand out to the player? Like, what is that hole doing that is interesting in playing it? And why is it different to the other 17? No, I need to upload them to YouTube, but I've kind of forgotten recently because I keep forgetting to take the screenshots. There's a job for tomorrow mornings because work's been crazy busy. Anyway, we are going to be right back with the second playthrough. So yeah, thank you for watching.